world.
Now what?
I just wanted to try something instead of just believe a.
The countdown to zip. Well, good morning, Vinnie.
Countdown, baby. We're counting it down. All right.
He's New York Vinnie. I'm Michael Knight. We're here every Monday, every Wednesday, and this would be a Freaky Fractious Friday, so we're here again.
The show would be a Freaky Fractious Friday. Now let me do one more thing. Yeah, Instagram. It says go ahead and go live. Go live. You know, this program I use has a few little quirks with it.
Has some antlers out on the drapery.
Yeah, it can be sometimes just a pain in the ass. We use StreamYard.
A sensation in the arse.
And so, we had technical problems on Wednesday,
right?
As you recall.
I do. It's all coming back to me now over here.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you focus on it for a second, it'll come back to you. So I send a help ticket to the people. Now, remember, we went through, I don't know if we did this live on the air or not, but we went through a number of sequential things that they have in their help because you can't get help anymore from anybody. There's no human that will give you help.
No matter what's wrong with your StreamYard, they tell you the same thing. Are you using it in more than one product? Are you on more than one window? Have you used it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so, and it's not just StreamYard. I don't want to pick out just StreamYard here, but I'm paying for StreamYard every month, so I will pick them out. And anyway, so I send them a help ticket. Help, please. Help me if you can. My computer's down. And and we went through a number of sequential things. Is this there? Is that? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? Did you do this? Do that? Do this? Do this? Do this? Do this? Do this? Do this? We did that. So I write the ticket out. Hey, I'm having a problem. Mic goes mute after 5 seconds. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'm figuring, okay, I'm paying for this thing, so they're gonna, either get me back to me with an individual or something, right? I get an email back from these people at StreamYard, and the email says exactly what was on
the screen.
Sequential thing that we looked at.
So it wasn't a person. It was just an automatic response.
Yeah, it was bullshit. It was just they basically just, they probably have one guy sitting in an office somewhere. And again, it's not just StreamYard. It is almost anybody you deal with today that has anything to do with computers. They let the community solve it. You know what? I don't want the community to solve it. I'm paying you so that you have somebody there. That's like the community solving it. It's like when your car gets stuck and 6 guys stand there around the car and they're looking at it while you're trying to figure out what's going on. And one guy is saying, well, you better check the plugs. The plugs might be bad, even though the car has no freaking plugs anymore. The other guy saying, well, you better check the distributor. Maybe your points are bad. Car doesn't have any points anymore. Have you restarted the car? Well, no, you didn't. What if I could start the car? Do you think I'd be standing here on the side of the road with the hood up? And you can't get anybody who will tell you. You have to take it to somebody who knows about the car.
Plus, their attitude is
your own car these days.
The attitude is you're just a customer. We're not paying attention to your email. Good luck to you.
We sold you the car. We got you the money. It's almost impossible to stop the subscription. You have to basically get a lawyer or somebody that reads Esperanto to go into this thing and figure out how to stop the subscription.
You have to meet the IT guy on the street in New York and take him into a cab where you persuade him to do the right thing.
It's ridiculous. So now we're going to throw AI into the mix.
So you think
And
you're
I
talking
can
to
see
a person.
nothing but happiness around that.
But I'm talking to you. You're talking to AI. It sounds like me. It sounds like you. Who do you want it to sound like? It'll sound like Vincent Price if you wanted to. In fact, you
Yeah,
should be
I
able
can
to set
see
your
that
AI
turning
help
into
me.
I can see that turning into a huge, big thing for I don't know. It's just it's frustrating when you get the stuff for free.
Wait till you get to the
But
co-sponsoring, where the cast of Wicked gives you IT advice.
yeah. Are you gonna see? Did you see that movie?
No, I'll be okay. I saw The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted on it because I'm kind of like, do I want to go see it?
L. Frank Baum said, "Why should the sisters get together and be pals? That ruins my story."
Yeah, I'm very conflicted on it. So I don't know. How are you, man?
I'm better than L. Frank Baum, but I'm worried about two things:
What are you worried about this Fractious Friday?
the Benjamin Netanyahu clause in the ceasefire, which allows him apparently to be the one guy who gets to shoot people during the ceasefire. That's got to be taken out. We've got to strike that clause from the agreement.
Yeah,
And in the lovely counties of New Jersey, of Somerset and
Wayne, I think is it or
Morris County,
Morris? Yes, Morris.
unidentified flying objects that some people say are drones the size of SUVs, bigger than the Jeep behind you, are flying mysteriously over the cities and counties and rural areas. And if you get a close-up picture of these, whatever these figures are, these UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, they don't have wings, they don't have acceleration, they don't have
Yeah, it's a drone.
they don't
I
have
mean, they got
propulsion.
the four, the VTOL stuff.
But the
Well, they did get drone.
the pictures I saw did not have drone propellers.
Now, they think they're drones, but there's other people that say, well, maybe they're piloted aircraft.
Well,
Maybe
piloted
they're
aircraft can't.
radio control aircraft.
They're making right hand and left hand turns at speed with no slowing down, like me.
Yeah, which indicates a drone, but again, nobody really knows what they are. I think the one mayor that I don't know if it was now that area of New Jersey, Morris County, Morristown, and then you go up along is it 280 or 680? I forget. But there's Whippany, Parsippany, and Denville.
Whippany and Parsippany.
Whippany, Parsippany,
Parsippany.
Denville, and you go. It kind of goes up along a road called Route 23 that goes up into New York State. It's northern New Jersey, so you kind of where those drones seem to be is between like Route 78 and 280. Let me call up the map.
Have you ever seen a drone the size of a Chevy Suburban?
Yeah, the Iranians have many of them, I think. So, Whip any New Jersey.
I like Parsippany.
Oh, the Whippany Rail. That wasn't there anymore. All right, let's go and look at the map. It's 287 is the road, and it goes. It starts like at Route 80. Well, actually, it goes north of Route 80, and then goes down around, and then goes down to almost down to Philadelphia, I think.
Is there anything in that area that a foreign?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of corporate headquarters there.
United
Many
Healthcare
of the corporations that have a presence in Manhattan have larger offices, like Tiffany's. Tiffany's has Tiffany's in New York, but they have a huge office presence in Whippany, or is it Parsippany? I forget. Many of the major corporations have, along this crescent, and then at the southern end of the crescent is the Trump Golf Club.
That's it. That's the problem.
So you it used to be a little crap town. When I was a kid, there was nothing out there except a couple of Stewart root beer stands. You drive out
Do they have
Route
parsnips and
46.
Parsippany? Any parsnips and Parsippany?
I don't think so.
That's a
But you
shame.
go out Route 46 because Route 80 wasn't finished yet. And I remember this from being a kid because we go to Pennsylvania Dutch country, which was in Pennsylvania, drive out 46, and it was fruit stands, egg, because the Jersey eggs and the Jersey cows. I don't know if cows have anything to do with eggs. I didn't grow up on a
Not
farm. I'm a city boy.
not too much. Not a great deal. But if they're flying UAPs, who knows what they're doing? The cows could lay eggs if they
Right.
wanted.
Then they sold all those farms and they turned them into corporate campuses.
That's why there's a Pennsylvania Dutch, but there's no New Jersey Dutch.
Right. Now, and the only thing that was out there, I remember this from when I was a kid. You drive through Whippany, through Parsippany. There was Pizza Town is on Route 46.
Pizza Town sounds like a Springsteen song.
Yeah, no, the place that I always show you the picture. Put the picture up. Pizza Town. That's on Route 46 next to the Garden State Parkway. And then you go out west on that Route 46 and you pass car dealers and this and that and this and that. And then you get all the way out to Whippany, Parsippany, and now you hit but when you were a kid, there was nothing out there but farms and the cows laying eggs. But you go past that, and there was the Mars Candy Company.
Oh, brother.
Was
Oh,
in,
brother. This is all starting to add up.
yeah. And then sometimes we would go and we would make a left, and we had a cousin that lived just off of Route 10, which was, but further in Bloomfield Hills, which was where Yogi Berra. Matter of fact, the Yogi Berra Museum is located there now. That was where Yogi Berra lived.
Now, what about these Mars
So
bars? If you look at a Mars bar, does it say made in Parsippany?
it was no. What was the town? Not it was it Dover, New Jersey. It was Dover, New Jersey,
That's more of a corporate name.
and that was, and then you went through Dover, and the next stop was, you go out into Pennsylvania, all the way to Freak out there, and then you were in Pennsylvania Dutch country.
So you're on
Sometimes
your
you'd
own.
stop at what the hell
Luigi
was it?
Mangione's
Roadside
house.
America.
Roadside America? That seems like that would include everything.
Roadside America did include it was a huge miniature America. And you could go in, I don't know, 20
Wait,
15 cents, whatever
isn't
it
that
was.
isn't that the best thing you ever said? A huge miniature?
Yeah, it was a huge miniature America.
You had to be there. How big was it? It was huge. What was it? It was a miniature. Listen, follow me. I'm trying to tell you over here.
And it had buttons. You'd walk around it. It was in this big building, and you'd walk around it, and it had buttons that you could push to operate the lights in the gas station, and another button there. It was awesome until I visited there. Let's see, maybe 10 years ago, something like that. Of course, it still was up until maybe less than 10 years.
Still a huge miniature.
The huge miniature, and the people that either bought it or owned it got religion. And so they would tell you when you came in, stay for the show. The show will happen at, I think, 2, 4, 6, whatever.
Was that Noah and the flood, I bet you?
You almost nailed it. So the curtains would close on the front of the building, and a large Jesus would come up over the huge miniature.
Was it a large miniature Jesus? Because Jesus was 5'10".
I'm going to go. This
Most.
was bigger than Jesus was. This is a bigger than life size Jesus on the curtain, and all of a sudden flags come up, and they go through about a
Flag,
5-minute show, now a
flags?
little more 10-minute show of what a Christian nation we are, and and that God will save us all, which you know,
When they say that, it's an estimate.
well, yes, yes, all saving is all saving is an estimate. Your actual dispensation may vary by mileage.
It could be smaller.
Could be smaller, could be bigger. We don't know who's giving out the dispensation that day.
We don't even know who's flying the Suburbans, the size all over Morris County.
Yes, so to get back to the thing, that's the kind of area, though, where these drones, and then there's obviously residentials. If you go, there's residential out there too. So I think, which is what these people are complaining about. And I love the people. I mean, God bless the people in New Jersey, because when you watch the news and you see the people they interview, one couple on last night, and she said, and she and my mother used to do this, so it really made me laugh. She said, "Well, I don't know. I see him going across the sky, like
Well,
a
I don't
cross
know.
on the end of it. It's going across the sky. I'm
Across.
afraid to take off my clothes in the house." So anyway, I don't know who's running these drones. They say that they're not a foreign government, because the New Jersey State Police.
There's no mothership off the coast.
Yeah, it says that we didn't see him flying in off the coast. So we don't know if this is some guy or a woman or somebody with is just looking to play with people's heads.
Has anybody checked the family of Luigi Mangione? Do we know if his parents could be involved?
I don't know. I don't know I don't know what his parents are girding up, man, because their life is going to be a little bit different. The old man owns a radio station.
Oh, what's the
Two radio stations, as a matter of fact. One of them a conservative hot talk station.
Of course.
In suburban Baltimore. So.
And the family has been estranged from their son for some time, am I right?
6 months. They say that from what they've said, what I've read, and I haven't been keeping but I guess it was that this kid was doing okay until about 6 months ago. Then he dropped off the radar. They hadn't heard from him.
He was incited over parsimony.
No, he wasn't cited over parsimony. And then all of a sudden he's got his own reality show. I shot the CEO. So
now other CEOs in the medical business are saying the structure of Americans' healthcare is all wrong.
Yeah.
We knew it. You knew it. We just didn't want to say anything because despite being all wrong, it's a great business for us to be in. Not so much for you. Okay? We understand that. It's not for you. But for us, we're feeling better. For you, you probably feel a little ill right now. Verklempt, something's coming over you.
Something's not right. Well, I had over here on South Lake Union, they had, those portable road signs, to tell you construction ahead, keep left. Construction ahead,
you were going 38 miles an hour.
Well, no, not the speed sign, but that sign that lights up, that programmable sign that's on a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And they can stick it somewhere to say, slow down, asshole, or something like that. Somebody rented one and put it on Mercer Street. And said, one down, many to go.
Ooh.
So, yeah, these CEOs are afraid. I mean, if you're a CEO of a health corporation right now, you're not denying anybody's claim, that's for sure.
You're running a little temperature.
You are without a doubt not saying you can't do that. If the health company that denied my claim when I was in the coma, that guy that runs that place, he's walking around with guards and a bulletproof vest right now.
He probably should be.
Because they do shit that's illegal. They do stuff because they figure that you'll either die or you won't want to. Um, you'll get frustrated and tired of pursuing the claim.
And plus, you're sick, you're ill, you
And
require
you're ill.
care.
And I can't tell you how I spent a year and a half, almost 2 years, because the insurance company and the state of Pennsylvania denied my rehabilitation
Your
once I got
rehab.
out of the hospital, didn't want to pay it. $35,000. Matter of fact, they wanted to. Now, don't forget, I have a ventilator in me. I have a what do you call it? A trach tube. I can't walk. I can't talk. I can't do anything. They want me to drive from New York in a hospital I'm in all the way to Pennsylvania to get care, or else they're not going to pay for it. The stress that it put on me and my sister and my family
Can't be
was
measured.
unbelievable. And the only reason that they eventually did pay the claim because they were wrong is because I was an asshole bulldog. And I wouldn't let the fuckers get away with it. And I went to assemblyman. I went to the insurance commissioner, and eventually they paid they paid most of the claim. It still put me in debt for an unbelievable amount of money.
And they
And
did it just
so
because they could.
they did it just because they could. They did it just because they could. There was no law to back them up. My sisters are very smart. My sister is a vice president of an insurance company.
Oh dear, inside information.
So she knows these laws and she knows how they work. And she researched it and went into it and had somebody in her company look into it. And there was no way that they could deny the claim. What they were saying was just not true. But yet they did it. And so,
We'll think about it if you can drive to Pennsylvania and be here in 20 minutes.
and so when you see a guy like this Luigi Mangione do this and get one of these people, I don't advocate killing anybody. But, it's like the school shootings when they say, well, all these kids bullied the guy in school. Now, I don't advocate him getting a gun and going and shooting innocent people. But if you've ever been bullied in school, you could sure understand the frustration and where you have nowhere to go, where you get to a point where you say, there's no other recourse for me but to get violent. Because that's the only thing that people are going to understand. That ultimately, and again, I don't take any glee in what happened to this guy. I don't think we should go out and start shooting corporate executives because the wheel fell off of our Chrysler. But you better take a long look at how your business does business, in my opinion. Because if you're screwing people just because you can screw people, there's a lot of people like Luigi out there. And they all have easy access to guns.
And
I rest my case.
And you can have CNN minimize your back injury by having Dr. Sanjay Gupta say, well, I can't tell from looking at these x-rays. It could hurt, maybe, but probably doesn't. It doesn't hurt me. My back feels fine. I'm looking at these x-rays and I can see where the screws are, but I don't have those, so I couldn't begin to tell you what that would feel like. So the rounded off version is, who knows? no doctor can say. I'm sorry you brought me in on this one.
Well, Michael, I often think that if somebody is driven to what this kid did, that it must be pain. I mean, this is a kid that seemed like he was in his right mind. Okay. And all of a sudden now, he's not in his right mind because he lives with excruciating pain. That's not something that you make up. I know I live with excruciating pain every day. My you know the story with my ankles and everything. I mean, and it either, if you decide not to do pain pills, painkillers of some kind, and live with the pain, it turns you into a different person.
Because you have to react to the pain.
Yeah, you're not so happy go lucky anymore. As a matter of fact, and if there are methods that are only available to certain people, or if there are methods that somebody who is supposed to be paying for them deny you, I mean, nobody goes out and does something like this guy did. Or I'm not going to say nobody because that's a blanket statement. But generally, people do not go out and do what this guy did because they just get up one afternoon and say, "Hey, you know what? I think I'm just going to go shoot somebody."
I'm sort of in the mood to get a CEO.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people that do that. There's a frustration, and that you have, again, somebody who is intelligent enough to say, look at what this kid did. He didn't, back in the 60s, I was talking to my kid about this last night or the night before. Back in the 60s, we had the Weathermen, the Black Panthers. They wanted to change the system. They wanted to bring change to the system. So what did they do? They blew up banks. They blew up airports. They blew up townhouses.
They didn't mean to blow that one up, but they sure as hell blew it up.
Yeah, the townhouse, it might have been an accident. But they blew up symbols of corporate America and killed people in the process. Lots of people, innocent people. Now with the ETA,
and they justified it.
What?
They justified it by saying this was something that needed to be done to break the stalemate.
Right. This guy now comes along and he says, well, it wouldn't be right to kill all these people. I could blow up the headquarters of whatever it is, United Healthcare. I could do that, but that would take in, the secretaries and, innocent people waiting for the bus outside the building.
You want to just kill the Spank Boy, but you killed too many people.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't. Yeah. You just don't want to kill all those people. It's innocent people. So your next recourse of action is get the guy who's running the joint. Does it change things?
It might now.
We're going to have to see, because now all these CEOs are shitting in their pants.
And that's right? Covered, by the way.
Is it?
For the executive plan, yeah.
They're stocking Pampers in the Depends up in the corporate suites.
But you don't get the adult Depends unless you have the corporate coverage. You just get the regular over-the-counter Depends.
So, I don't agree with what this guy did. I think it's. I almost, I'm a big fan of the movie King of Comedy. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of like the Rupert Pupkin approach. You throw a beating on the guy, or you take him and you hold him. That's something. Location. You're not killing anybody. You're trying to make a point.
You're interrupting their flow.
Thank you. That's why, all these people always get upset because these people are protesting something, stopping traffic on the freeway. But that's the only way you get heard in today's America. Maybe you get heard on social media. Maybe you get heard. But for the most part,
you don't turn to Sanjay Gupta to hear him say, well, I really don't know. No one does. Thanks for asking.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. He's Sanjay. Listen, I like Sanjay Gupta. I think he gives very good, sound advice for the most part. I think he was key during the pandemic. I think he's shown during the pandemic. He became somebody that I thought, and again, there's people that will argue this, but I thought for the most part, he led people. He gave good information out, or intended to give good information out for the most part. But as we all know, doctors never have 100% understanding of how much pain you're going through, do they?
That's why they ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you got? Well, if
I always answer with a solid 13.
Lucky 13. KDIA.
Solid 13. That's how much pain I'm in. What can you do for me? And luckily, I am lucky enough to have a doctor that listens to me when I say, this hurts. I need something. Help. How do I, can you send me to a massage? Can you send me to this? What can you do for me? So it'll be an interesting. I mean, I think he's going to get an insanity plea. I think and again, I don't advocate what this kid did in any shape, manner, or form. I don't think that we should go around shooting corporate executives or shooting people we don't like. Because again, what happens? It's a breakdown of law. And we've had enough of that in this country right now.
And we're facing 4 more years of a very strange attitude toward law. The rule of law will not be a factor.
Right. It's going to be a very different.
The role of government won't be a factor. The role of right and wrong won't be a factor. The role of appeal or habeas corpus or any of the elements of the law that we rely on to protect the innocent and to protect the individual against the overstepping of the power brokers in our society, the police, the courts, the attorney generals. All that will be swept aside.
The system
and my show on Voice of America looks to be in danger right now. Midnight Daddy's record parlor.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to make the cut.
I would say of all the places that she could have wound up, that probably Voice of America is where she can do the least harm.
Well, they've got 3 million listeners somewhere, not here. You can't hear it.
Right, we're talking about Carrie Lake, who was is going to be the head of Voice of America. I guess they had to give her something.
Now it's time for the Carrie Lake Show. Carrie's guest
today. Did your name used to be Ricky?
Whatever happened to
all right. I saw yesterday, or listened to yesterday, Michael, 3.5 of the best hours of over-the-air radio that I have listened to in years.
Tell me more.
3.5 of the absolute best hours of over-the-air radio. It was on KEXP.
I know
here in Seattle, which also broadcasts on a signal that I used to work at, 92.7 in the Bay Area, the old K-Jazz.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they bought that station the last time it was up for sale, and now they simulcast on 92.7. And it was it was enjoyable, it was educational, it was done through music. It had a personality that was behind the microphone who had obviously done his homework and sat down and presented a program that I was actually sitting in the parking lot at Costco listening to it. I had to go get new glasses yesterday,
Who was the
and I was
host?
and I didn't want to get out of the car. It was that good, and the the premise of the show was yacht rock, which is, you know, 70s AOR. They have to come up with a fancy name for
But
everything now,
there's a
but
documentary on yacht rock that's out right now, I think, on
right,
HBO.
which was generated from this guy on YouTube that did a series on it that was on YouTube, and so what this guy did, and I'm going to try to call up his name here. What this guy did is he presented a show that took the yacht rock songs and showed how they influenced hip hop and the genres of music that we hear today. And so he had rappers that was sampling like Asia from Steely Dan. And he took it through from playing the original and then now playing the first song that was influenced by that. Many of these songs were influenced several songs. And there was a version of Baby Come Back, was it? By Player. Remember that song? Baby Come Back.
I do.
And he took it through the song by Kirk Franklin that had me in the car, like jumping up. I mean, he really it was an enjoyable, educational 3.5 hours of radio. And I said to myself, as I'm listening to this, number one, I want to go work at this station.
Right.
I'll go volunteer at this station. The second thing that it said to me is that this is what radio should be doing.
And where do you get a guy like that? Who was it? Do you remember his name?
Let me see if I could if I can call up his show here. DJs. I'll remember his name when I see it. Unfortunately, DJ June, DJ Alex. These guys all have Greg Randy, Good Rose, Hines. They all got great names. It looks like a page full of aliases. Larry Mizell, the afternoon show. Larry Mizell Jr. was the guy that did the show. And I'm going to actually sit down today and write him a little note because you and I both know how much we appreciate when somebody does that. But I listened to this guy, and I just said to myself, this is the guy. This is the show. This is the concept that beats out a podcast.
Yep.
This is what will save radio. Now, I know that radio executives are not going to listen to it.
They don't listen to anything, including their own stations.
Right, because it's down the end of the dial and nobody, But this is what you have. And again, not every station can do it. But this is the type of person that you need. This is the type of programming that you need if you want to compete. Maybe you won't beat podcasts now because I think the cat's out of the bag. But if you want to put something on your station, it's enjoyable, it's listenable. That's more than just people hearing themselves on the radio talk bullshit. This guy, what he did yesterday. Now it takes work. It takes work. It takes the staff. It takes thinking.
I heard a jock on one of my favorite non-commercial station here in LA, who did like 3 ideas. Back announced the thing, promoted something, talked about a third thing, talked about tickets, talked about something I'm going to give away. It just went on and on and on. I'm going, shut the fuck up and play another song. You've ruined the whole break. Has been for naught because you can't give somebody 4 things to do.
Right.
You cannot. And this is a violation of every rule of the rookie jock. My name is, and I think this is a really good song. It's one of my favorites. I don't care. I do not care. Tell me about the song. If it's not one of your favorites, what are you playing it for? We would assume that you would play good music. It was just horrendous. It made me jump out of my pajamas. And I was driving Kristen crazy because I'm yelling at the radio.
Well, I'll see if I can. I'm sure there's a link to this guy's show from yesterday. I'll put it up on our Facebook page, on the Facebook page.
Well, you get a standing ovation, Larry Mizell Jr.
Yeah, it was really, what it did is it caused me to think, and naturally, again, you got to love music, but if you don't love music, what are you listening to like a 90.7 for, or 90.3? It just took it to a different level.
And it takes knowledge of this topic that you're covering, and it takes preparation, and it takes some writing and organization and structure, and none of those things are evident in modern radio very often. Even the talk shows where they've got to prepare, they prepare by doing the shtick that they did yesterday, the hate shtick. That's why hate talk is so easy, because you hate everything and you mistrust everybody and you put down everything, and you have the certainty when you talk that everybody hates what you hate, and if they don't, they will when you're done with them.
Yeah.
So you don't have a format. You just have the repetitive show. You plug in, today we plug in Biden. Tomorrow we're going to plug in Pelosi. The day after that, we're going to plug in people who voted against Kerry Lake. We're gonna take them all down one at a time. We hate them all. That's the format.
Well, I would suggest for people to, and it's great because we can do this here where we could never do it on commercial radio station, right, is go down and listen to this. Go down at the end of the dial. And again, it's music, and not everybody's going to like all the music they hear. Except, now you know me, I'm not a big fan of hip hop and rap. It's not my thing. Some of it I like, some of it I don't. When people start getting into misogyny and all that stuff, I kind of, sorry, not my deal. But Larry Mizell, this guy hit the ball right out of the park. Let me see if I could. Yeah, there it is. You can just, all you got to do is go right to. I mean, he had it. All right. Now I said he was. Okay.
He's a persistent little cut there.
I said, but he just, yeah. I mean, again, I can't praise the guy enough, man. I'll be listening to his show every afternoon. As long as he's got something on there that I like. But or that I can learn from, or that
Right.
it can make me look at a song or a genre or something in a different way.
It's funny that yacht rock has a negative connotation in some. Well, just the name doesn't really add up to what it amounts to, but it's
Well, it's a
done now.
stupid name.
The undeniable part of yacht rock or that genre or the is the period of time in which it was new. It was right there at what is considered to be the pinnacle of American music, 1973.
Right,
That was the height. It never got better, it only got worse.
right.
And
I go with that period from 71
yes,
to 73.
when
Maybe
everybody
even maybe you could reach
all
into 74 a little bit.
all the great bands in the world were still alive and working.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, you had, I mean, and I guess now, as with everything, when people get involved with it, it's they're a very strict, and Mizell explained this yesterday, that there's a very tight qualification for yacht rock. There's a
Well,
very there's a there are some songs that make it in yacht rock, and some songs that you think would be yacht rock that don't make it. Like Toto is one of the premier bands in yacht rock. The Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan, or what were, I don't want to say soft rock because they're harder than just but it's not metal. It's not um uh like the Who would not be yacht rock probably.
nor would Led Zeppelin.
No, with Led Zeppelin, but Ambrosia, um, America.
Yep.
That level that wasn't on. Uh, what was the genre that they were played in? I mean, because it wasn't. It was deeper than AOR. Well, no, it was kind of AOR, wasn't it?
It wasn't
But you didn't
Superstar.
hear. See, like if you again, you're a lot more familiar with this than I am because you were actually working at it at the time. I was kind of just listening and trying to figure out what was going on. But there were stations that, of course, like WNEW and KLOS and
KMUK,
KSFX or what's the Tom Donahue station?
KSAN.
KSAN.
K-
Thank you. That were album cuts. They went in and they took out, stuff that wasn't the song that the record company was pushing. It was something that the DJ or the program director heard and said, "That's tasty."
and stations that would break Elvis Costello and break David Bowie and break new artists.
Right. And then you go up, and it's funny you mention that because, in my opinion, now you go up to 76 and you get new wave,
Yep.
and
Tom
that's not
Petty.
yacht rock anymore.
Tom Petty's not yacht rock.
Right. And then there were stations like um, WPIX FM, um, WCBS FM, when they had gone from, WCBS started out as an all oldies station.
Right.
And then in 71 or 72, kind of caught on to
Album
this
rock.
emerging trend of things like It's Too Late, um, We Got to Get You a Woman,
Todd Rundgren.
right? Nas, also the earlier Hello, It's Me, the first
Right.
one. And that genre of music that was I always called it must have been the cut that the record company was pushing. And It was tight. It was not a lot of DJ talk. It wasn't, Allison Steele sitting there in the Nightbird telling you about what concert is going to be at the Beacon Theater, or this week at the Bottom Line. This new guy, Bruce Springsteen, is coming along, and you got to check him out. No, this was the evolution, really, of hit radio, of the '60s. You know, without the screaming DJs.
Less talk, more
Without,
pop.
yeah, it was pop. It was pop oriented. It was again those bands, and then as things progressed, as bands like Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers and the Eagles started to come along, they got into the mix. I don't remember. Was there ever a yacht involved in any of this?
There was no yachts, no band named after a boat, no boats named after a band, no yachting. There was a
Yeah,
band. There was a band in 1978 or 79 called the Yachts. I don't know if you remember them, but
no,
they were not part of yacht rock because they were a new wave band from England.
and um, and then once you had new wave, then you at the same time new wave, then punk came along and blew the doors off of everything. All of a sudden, everybody was heading to the Mud Club and to
Herman Brood
CBGBs.
is in a bad mood.
Yeah, and and then you had people who came along and refined it, like the Clash, who kind of married everything up together. You know,
Little pop, little reggae, little.
yeah, a little bit of everything. But now I haven't watched. Have you watched that Yacht Rock documentary yet?
I have not.
Yeah, I think that's
It's on one of the 10 million streaming channels that I don't subscribe to.
yeah, that's another thing we'll have to talk about some days. How many freaking streaming channels there are getting to be? I mean, what do you do? Do you subscribe for 1 month to watch your show and then go off? Why don't they just tell me I can pay $1.95 and see the show? Why don't they
They
just put all the streaming services out there and say, okay, give us your credit card, we'll charge you $1.95.
I'm thinking about dumping Amazon now that Jeff Bezos has given Donald Trump $1 million for his inauguration.
Oh, has he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he has. Because he wants to be friends. Let's be friends. What do you know?
Well, they're all. I mean, come on, Michael. They're all. I mean, these guys aren't different. You like to think that what we're looking at. You used to always talk about the robber barons. Are these guys any different? Is
No, they're rubber
Bezos and
barons.
Musk any different than Carnegie or Carnegie and that brood of people?
I think
Westinghouse.
Carnegie's correct.
Yeah, the railroad guys, Vanderbilt,
Don't forget DuPont making gunpowder.
DuPont. Yeah, I mean, are these guys any different than them?
Maybe
You
worse.
just see them more because they have a media presence, and we follow them around more.
And they buy their spot on the planet. I'm putting down cash. This is mine. This
Yeah,
is my patch. This is what and I can do what I want over here.
and we enable them because we decided a long time ago that we didn't want to get off our ass and go to Macy's or go to Radio Shack or go to the local electronics store or the local um, butcher shop. No, we'd rather go to Walmart. We'd rather get on our computer and have it sent to us because we're too busy diddling with our dicks watching CNN feed
Last
us
night,
corporate.
Amazon and Prime sent me the Rams and the 49ers. And all I can tell you about that game is, oi,
Yeah,
it was
I
bad.
wanted to, I wanted to make sure we got to that. That was yeah. What did you think of that? I mean, I turned it on at halftime, and I saw the score was 3-3,
You didn't miss
and I
anything,
stuck
did you?
around for a little bit longer. And I got to tell you, Michael, it was absolutely boring.
It's everything that a game that finishes 12-6, everything a game like that would suggest. Except the 49ers stink worse than I thought. And they had a linebacker who elected not to play last night. Get in the game.
Yeah, what
Dre
was the
Greenlaw's
deal with
down.
that?
Well, Greenlaw's been out with a Achilles in the knee for a while. So this guy Devon, whatever his nose is, has been playing. He's been played in 10 or 9 straight games. They told him to go in the game yesterday, and he said, "I don't want to play." No, he
Well,
was
how do you
dressed. He
get
was
away
standing on the
with?
sideline. And then in the third quarter, he just put a towel over his head and walked to the clubhouse, and that was the last we've seen of him.
How do you?
He told Shanahan didn't want to play. No, no thanks. I'm not going in, coach. Why? I don't want to play. But you
Yeah,
are a
I mean,
football
how do
player
you,
on the sidelines in your football uniform. Still don't want to play.
Devondre Campbell is the player, and
He's a veteran.
they called his number and said, "I'm not going in." I mean,
It's quite unusual, despite the fact that you think it might have happened many times before. It hasn't. Not very often will you be able to tell your head coach, "Nah, not for me, not today."
well, I don't know what team he would get away with that on,
He said
unless
he's going
there's
to have
a
difficulty getting his next appointment with the NFL.
yeah. Boy, I got to tell you, man, that's just I don't know how you do. I don't know how you
It's,
get away with that. I don't know how
especially
do you how does
a
he?
linebacker, somebody who's into hitting, somebody who's into contact, somebody who's into stopping the other team. Nope, don't want to play.
Yeah, how does he? I mean, I guess unless he comes up with a good reason. I was afraid to go out there, but that ain't going to help him. I mean, that's do they can they void his contract? I mean, can they say, well, guess what? We're not going to pay anymore.
Yeah, they're going to cut him.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's
I got
quite
to.
unusual.
Yeah, I got to admit that that's unless you have a compelling reason.
Then you don't belong on the
That
sideline dressed and ready to go.
Yeah, and if you have that compelling reason should come out uh, prior to the game, shouldn't it?
Yeah. No, something
Your
else is
coach
going
should
on.
not have you on his card that he can call. I don't know what's his number, 58 or whatever. That he can call 58 and say 58. Shouldn't have that.
And came as a surprise to the team and to the coaches. They weren't expecting it.
Yeah, George Kittle said that whatever his decision was, it wasn't for the organization, it wasn't for this team, and that's on him. Uh, Not very happy about it. I would have had something to say. I wish I heard about it on the field, but I didn't. It's just dumb. It's stupid. It's very immature. I don't see how you could do something like that to your team. Kyle
It's
Shanahan said he didn't want to play today. Uh, they needed Campbell because two other linebackers were out. Um, Despite he was unhappy, I guess, prior to that about getting less playing time due to Dre Greenlaw's return to the team on Thursday after he tore his Achilles during the Super Bowl. When Greenlaw went out of the game with knee soreness, linebacker D. Winters also not playing. Campbell's cue to take the field, and he did. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, that's a heck of a name, was inserted into the game.
And he played. He
And he
actually
played.
played. Well,
Now,
Dre Greenlaw is a great linebacker. He had 8 tackles before he went out with his sore knee and his Achilles started acting up. And so if Campbell was upset that he didn't get the start, it's because he didn't have 8 tackles in him that night. He didn't have any tackles in him. He had no response whatsoever.
he didn't even have the fortitude to walk out past the sideline.
Nope, did not take the field.
And again,
He dressed, stood around, and then left.
If you're gonna go, I don't know, you want to call it chicken. If you decide that you don't want to go in the game, or there's something that's on your mind, you got to tell your coach before the game. It's that simple. I'm sure it's happened before where somebody has said, I'm unhappy with a situation. Coach, don't put me in tonight. I just don't, and then they either drop him. Now, he didn't cost the 49ers that game.
No, he did not.
But
he didn't help his team when he had the opportunity, when he was called upon.
Right. It's a team that could have used some help from somewhere last night.
Anywhere. Any bloody anywhere.
And boy, oh boy. Mikey, if
you're a head coach, you got to say to yourself, what am I doing here? I got guys that do play and they don't win. I got guys that won't play because we will never know why. What am I doing?
Well, you know where he may wind up?
Chicago.
In Whippany or Parsippany, New Jersey.
On 278.
Right off of 278, right there north of the Trump golf course.
Is Trump University in that neighborhood?
I don't know where Trump University is anymore. It obviously doesn't exist. I'm sure it was probably there somewhere because the golf course is not too far from there. And of course, Trump's first wife lives at the golf course. Was it the first wife or second wife? I forget now. Anyway.
None of them have names. They just have numbers.
Well, Well, I could see that.
The current Mrs. Trump made a comment yesterday at one of the press conferences, and they had the translation on Facebook, and it was incredibly funny. I wish I could. I can't do it like her. I won't insult the poor thing, but it was along the lines of "be best."
Be best. Yeah. Did you hear him ringing the bell at the stock exchange yesterday?
Don't give him a bell anymore. That's it. No more bells. No whistles
like a
either.
5-year-old. Like if you gave a 5-year-old the bell, that's what the 5-year-old would do. Or a monkey. If you gave a monkey a bell,
monkeys got a bad name when they ring bells, but it's not their fault. They've been watching a human.
Bells, bananas, and hurling shit at people. They all don't excel at those.
Stand up real close to the fence, Johnny. That's it. Stand right there. Where are you going? I'm going to back up just a little. Whoa, here comes one.
Here comes a pie. Here comes something. Oh, man. All right. I got an edition of Drive Time coming up for you tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll what are we going to be doing? Oh, we're going to talk about the holiday train.
Oh, you love that.
I love the holiday train, man. I'm into the holiday train. It's getting closer and closer to Vancouver, and it's getting to be time for it to jump in the car and drive up and see it when it gets here.
Do they have lights on the Clydesdales to walk along pulling the wagon, or is it all just a train?
I think it's all train. I don't know what they're going to have in Vancouver, but the one thing I've noticed is that people, I mean, the crowds that this train draws. I mean, you think about it. If you're in a prairie town in Canada,
Good luck.
I mean, this is your Christmas entertainment. You don't go see the Nutcracker. You got to. I mean, you got to get up and work the farm in the morning. You're not going to drive to Calgary, or you're not going to
When
drive
you
to.
when you take the pickup over to see the trains, don't park on the tracks because it will not stop for you.
Right, right. Those lights will take you right out. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to spend some time talking about the Toyota Sequoia, which I had a chance to drive last week, and I enjoyed. I just had a short little time with it, but and we'll have the Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week? And we'll preview. I'll tell you. You want to know what I'm driving this week, Michael?
Yo, Vinny, what are you driving?
Thank you. I'm driving the UX 300H F Sport H. Is that a name for a car or what?
No, it's not. It's like a name for a television tube.
Sounds like when you remember you used to go to the store and they had the tube testing machine,
The
and you used
Magnavox
to have
tube
to
testing
look
machine.
at the little number under the plug
Yeah.
where you would plug the tube in to see if it was working.
And if you had the tube for a couple of years, the number was faded so you couldn't read it.
Yeah, then you had to try to fit the tube. You had to look at the tube and look at the plug and kind of match them up.
And no tube testing machine ever said, your tube is right. Your tube is beautiful. It just went,
No,
me,
that's
it
not
doesn't
what it
look
was
good.
there.
Doesn't
It
look
was there to
good.
sell you a tube. They didn't build those machines to tell you your tube was okay. I think all the time I ever took a tube down there for my father, because my father would, hey, take this to we used to have a place called Press TV on the corner 85th and Northern. And they had the tube testing machine. And so, my father would come home, the TV wouldn't be working. He'd look in there and he'd pull a tube out and he'd say, on your way home from school tomorrow, go take this over to the TV store and test it. All right,
That's
Dad.
our problem. This is our problem right here. We test this, we'll be in business.
Right, and I didn't mind going to the TV store because it was on the way to the hobby shop. So I was good with that.
What did they have at the hobby shop that you needed?
Oh, they had slot cars. They had a slot car track and model cars. George's Hobby Shop. Ray Car was the name, which I never knew what Ray Car meant. Maybe it was radio control car. I don't know. But this guy who seemed like he was, this guy George used to own it. And George was probably 80 years old when he owned the hobby shop.
Is he a little slow?
Well, he walked slow and he moved slow and he talked slow, but I wouldn't say he was slow.
Was he a large miniature? he
Drove
moved
in
slow,
every day
talked
from
slow.
Liberty.
Moved slow, talked slow, was slow, but I wouldn't call him slow. Oh, Vinny, $1 million
But,
bucks.
he had a large supply of model kits and balsa wood, which, for a 10-year-old kid is heavy.
Magic.
And, of course, boxes and boxes of Tester's glue, which is let's face it, it's the original gateway drug.
And if you want to be as slow as George, try some of this.
Probably what was happening with George is he was stocking the glue for so long that it just slowed him down.
It just became part of me. I can't explain it. I can be sighted in the air over Morristown, New Jersey.
Oh Lord. But that was the tube. And then one day my father handed me a UX 300H F Sport H, and I went to Press TV, tried to stick it in the hole. It wouldn't go.
What kind of TV you got at home? Because these tubes that you're bringing in here are from like the Civil War. We don't have tubes like that anymore.
We had an Emerson. I remember that TV. We had an Emerson because it said it right under the screen.
You
Emerson.
couldn't. There was no doubt.
And my grandparents, who lived upstairs, had an RCA Victor. And that was the one with the, I think we talked about it earlier in the week, with the doors that would close in front of the
Remember, we had
screen.
a Magnavox. We had a Zenith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
over
forget
the
what our
years.
first color TV was. I think it might have been a Zenith.
I think so.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the night we got color TV like it was yesterday. I mean,
What did you see? The news.
I saw my father come home with a color TV at 1:30 in the morning,
You come home when you
and I
come
knew
home.
immediately that it didn't come from Press TV.
George is too slow. You got to be quicker than George if you want to make that
It didn't
sale.
come from Northern Boulevard, that was for sure. No, this TV came from. It fell off a truck, is what my father said.
Well, I was just thinking of that phrase. You don't really want a TV that has fallen off a truck, even if it's legit. What's wrong with this
Uh,
TV? It fell off a truck. Yeah, I know, but look at it. TVs don't fall off trucks very well. They don't take the punch.
no, they don't. Not in those days. I mean, well, probably not now either. I mean, I don't remember there ever being a piece of foam in the box. The styrofoam.
One little strip of styrofoam down the
Couple of
bottom.
couple of pieces of cardboard around it, but that was about it.
Yeah,
I remember
styrofoam protectors and styrofoam corners, but I wouldn't call it styrofoam.
1 o'clock in the morning, my old man comes up the stairs with this box. He's got him and his this pump jockey that worked for him carrying the thing. All right, drop it here. I remember he wouldn't let the guy inside the house. Drop it here. I'll take care of it.
I'll take it from here. Thank you so much.
Yep. And I remember watching the first movie I ever watched on it, and for the life of me, I can't ever remember the name of the movie, man. I would love to see the movie again. It was one of the funniest movies I'd ever seen. It was a British movie. I'm pretty sure it had like Peter Cook and Dudley Moore,
Oh, was
and
it? Did Peter Cook play the devil?
no, no. But it was funny. It was funny. That was the first. Now, a friend of mine got a color TV, and I think they got it by legitimate um, means. I think they actually probably went to a department store, bought it, and had a couple of guys in white uniforms deliver it.
Well, that's one way.
And that's the first time I saw a color TV program, and that was the Dean Martin show. I remember that one.
Whoa.
1964. And then we got ours, I think, in 1965. Was
Did Dino have dancers?
Oh, yeah. The Gold Diggers? I don't think he went anywhere without them.
Why would you?
No, matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight. I'll probably do it because tonight is Indiana is playing. I want to watch Indiana. And it's the final episode of Blue Bloods.
Is he going to try and sell somebody a reverse mortgage before he dies?
I'm sure. And I haven't watched Blue Bloods in the last few years, but I used to really watch that show all the time and really enjoy it. It was one of those shows that you watched and you kind of, it kind of became very formula.
The formula gets old.
Yeah. It was the same kind of thing every week. The singer goes out with the hot detective and grabs, some kind of.
Does the detective say, "I'm going in," instead of waiting for backup? Because that's what detectives do.
Yeah, I'm going in.
There's 20 guys in the abandoned warehouse. I'm going in. Wait for backup. I told you to wait for backup. Yeah, I know, but I thought about it.
I don't think Donnie Wahlberg is like that great an actor to begin with. I think he developed
as as has been said by what was her name? He runs the
By
gamut of
many.
emotions from he runs the gamut of emotions from A to B. Who said that? Dorothy Parker.
So I'll check in with that. I mean, it's always good to see the last episode of something.
See the back of
Uh,
him.
yeah, see how it ends. I'll miss Bridget Moynihan, who
Daughter.
his daughter. Yeah, she's I liked her a lot.
Now she appears to be slightly Irish. Would you agree?
Did she what?
She appeared to be slightly Irish.
As Irish as they get, man. She yeah, she was she ticked all the boxes.
Like a Moynihan does.
Well, Daniel Patrick did, and Bridget does.
And when she drives through Parsippany, the people stand on their porches and wave.
She speeds.
There she goes. There she
She
goes.
speeds.
Oh,
She
she's
says, "I'm not.
lovely.
I'm not stopping here. I'm
She,
going right to Dover to the Mars factory,
isn't she a lovely lady? Look, there she goes in her
picking
convertible.
me up some M&Ms and turning around and going right back to my apartment in Manhattan."
Parsippany.
Parsippany and Parsippany.
That reminds me of Hoboken and Hohokus.
Yeah, yeah, but Hoboken and Hohokus are like far away from each other. Hoboken is right on the Hudson River there,
And don't forget Hackensack.
and Hackensack is 20 miles from Hoboken, and Hohokus is 20 miles from Hackensack going north.
They got the whole coast right there.
Well, they're not on the
The
coast; they're
the
inland a little
riverfront.
bit, but
Or
they're
isn't Hoboken on the river?
Hoboken's on the river. Hoboken is on the river. Then you have Hackensack, which is on the Hackensack River, but it's not the Hudson. It's inland. It's
It's a
actually
tributary.
kind of at the top of the Jersey swamps. And then Hohokus is up in I forget the damn county now. It's the same county like Bergen County.
Are we talking about the area where the New Jersey Devil might be holding forth?
Could be. Could be. And Hohokus should never be confused with Hohoken, which
No.
is the park that the Cubs play in Arizona.
Whoa. Whoa. Well,
Both Indian names.
what's the tribe? Is it the Manhattan Indians?
Up there, I don't know. I don't know what tribe. Um, Kiowa, maybe?
That's a nice name.
I think that might be the area of the Kiowa Nation. Now, let's see. I would well no. It might be the Powhatans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, might be the Powhatan or the Nanticoke. Seem to be northern New Jersey tribes.
We called this place Powhatan. The white guys came in and bingo, it's Parsippany. What are you going to do?
Yeah, who the hell? Who wrote that? What nitwit wrote that? Powhatan was a pretty good name. Well, I used to live right off of Powhatan in San Francisco. There's a Powhatan Street that runs
Really?
its.
Where?
It belts the hill that runs between south of Army Street. Powhatan is on the south side of that hill that is between Army Street and Bernal Heights.
Hmm.
And it runs right at the belt of the hill. So right at the bottom of the hill, it runs from whatever that street is that comes off of the hill. I forget the bus that's on there, but it runs right along the hill, and it's a relatively small street, but it's a used street because it gives you access to all of those streets that go down the hill to the street that goes across the main street in Bernal Heights.
It's escaping me. I can't think of the name of that damn street. Well, I'm losing my chops in San Francisco, Vinny. It's been so long since I've been there.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, I go
I'm losing
back
myself.
there, but I'm gonna. Whole Foods had a. Whole Foods had a. Not Whole Foods. What was the Real Foods? Had a store on that street. Come on, where are you? No. I want. Okay, Dolores. Crescent Ogden. What the hell? Cortland.
Cortland, huh?
Cortland. I mean, I drove a cab in San Francisco. I should know that. Yeah, Cortland. And then, yeah, and yeah, Cortland.
Cab drivers don't know as much as they used to. I remember my cab driver in New York when we were there the last time. He didn't know where the West Side Highway was. Had no idea what it was. I had to lean over on the seat and give him directions wherever we were going.
That's bad. But I mean, if you got to this country 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, you don't know from the West Side Highway.
Right.
I mean, you know that there's a highway probably that goes up from, because it's still there from 59th Street up.
But its name is of not an interest to you.
But they don't. I don't know what they call it, but they don't. I don't know if they call it the West Side Highway anymore. But they do, But I mean, I remember the West Side Highway when it ran all the way down to the Battery.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh,
It ran all the way down
all the way
there.
up to the Battery. Matter of fact, you used to come off of the West Side Highway, go into a tunnel, and come up on the FDR Drive. So that was mid-70s, and then the what was it, a cement truck or they saw it was falling apart, so they
helped it along.
They closed it to trucks. But of course, there's always got to be the idiot, right? So some guy, I forget, he had a truck full of tar or a truck full of some kind of building material or cement or something like that.
Hot tar.
Hot tar or something like that. Going up on the West Side Highway. And he's driving up, and all of a sudden, he drops down onto West Street. He made his own exit. I think it killed him, if I'm not mistaken.
Was he from Parsippany?
Might have been from both, actually. Mother from Parsippany, father from Whippany.
That poor man. He was fated for something terrible to happen that just didn't happen there. Why couldn't it have happened in Jersey?
Like Springsteen, he made it to New York. And look, here it is 30 years later, 40 years later, and we're talking about him. But the West Side Highway was great because it was all cobblestone. So when it would rain, well, it would make that, but when it would rain, it would just be like a skating rink.
Entertainment. If your building had a view of the West Side Highway, there was endless entertainment.
You were always seeing tow trucks. I mean, when I used to drive a tow truck, that's where we'd hang out, by the West Side Highway, because you would actually sit under the West Side Highway and you could hear the cars crashing up above when it rained. Somebody would step on the brakes and you hear, boom. I hate to laugh about it, but now it's funny. Back then, maybe not so. But that's like where you made your bread and butter.
It's a good story for a drive time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I will be on with
So
drive time 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
okay,
So if
Lade.
anybody wants to catch that, please do. We'll have some fun. We'll be talking trains and Lexuses and Toyotas and a lot more. And I think I'm going to work a few holiday gifts in there for car owners. I think that might be
Ooh.
if you
Do, do they
last
still
minute
do,
gift.
do they still make deodorizers shaped like trees?
Oh yeah, yeah. You get those are you get them in a car wash. Almost any car wash that's attended, like a brown bear car wash. Yeah, I know. All right, man. Listen, we've actually filled an hour and 26 minutes of show today, if you can believe that.
Well, we made up for yesterday.
We made up for Wednesday. Yes, we told you. One thing we always do is we promise value and we give it to you. You get exactly what you pay for listening to this show.
And if you pay for a parsnippany, don't blame us if you got the whippany or whatever it's called.
All right. If you go to Whippany, well, I used to map a lot today, man. There's 3 to 4 different times. Did you know that there's a Billy Goat Hill in Wow.
Where?
It's in Glen Park.
That's a
So
black lie.
it's between Noe Valley, the end of Noe Valley, 30th Street. Matter of fact, I used to live.
It's called Dead Goat Hill.
No, Billy Goat Hill.
Same
And I
thing.
used to live on both sides of it because I lived on Clipper, and between Noe and Sanchez, and then I lived on Chenery.
It's like growing up in Whippany and moving to Parsippany.
It's almost the same thing. Go from Noe Valley to Glen Park.
And Dead Goat Hill.
Matter of fact, I used to live around the corner in Noe Valley from Rosemary Grayshock. Remember Rosemary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived on on Clipper, and she was on Noe and 23rd, I think. When she had just separated from Miles, her husband. Or actually, yeah, I don't know if they're separated or divorced. Which people have no idea who we're talking about. Rosemary Grayshock was a DJ that we worked with at KKCY.
Where is she today?
She's out in roof Brentwood.
Okay.
And she survived cancer.
Good.
I happen to know. And she's doing okay. Doing pretty good for herself. She was a survivor. She was somebody you always knew somehow was gonna do okay. Yeah, she was whacked out, but she was fun.
Well, I wish everybody in Parsippany luck tonight with the UFOs as they come over the size of a Chevy Suburban. And rest assured that somebody's going to say, it's probably just an airplane. They can turn like that when they want to.
Somebody's going to shoot one of them out of the sky. I mean, I feel that coming, man. Somebody's going to get their
or vice versa.
Yeah, their 30-06 and just blow that puppy out of the sky.
Well, I wish them luck.
Good luck to them.
Vinnie, have a great weekend.
Mikey, have a good weekend. I will see you Monday morning if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise. And peace, love, and Manischewitz, pal.
You know what they drink in Parsippany? Manischewitz. What a wine.
Kedem.
Oh, Kedem? Because you can get Kedem at the store.
They're not cool enough to drink Manischewitz. Or what's the other? There's another Jewish wine that Goodman's.
Goodman's sounds like a lumber company.
Well, it was in San Francisco, but there it was. They used to make egg noodles and Jewish wine,
Well,
and Manischewitz made wine
that's
and gefilte fish.
that's a good start.
Gefilte fish,
No, making
matzahs.
I'll pass. I think I'll just have a tuna fish sandwich, please.
I like matzahs. Matzahs
I
and
like
tea are very
matzahs.
good. Yeah, matzahs and tea are very good. When you're sick, can't do better than a matzah with butter and a little bit of grape jelly and a cup of tea.
What kind
Good
of
old
tea?
Lipton.
Lipton. Okay, good.
Good old orange
That's
pico
what they
Lipton
drink. That's what they drink in Whippany. That's what they drink
and
there.
parsippany.
And
No,
parsippany.
I bet you Whippany or Parsippany is like a Salada tea place.
Well, can't they just introduce like a Arnold Palmer and like you can get the lemonade and parsippany and the iced tea and Whippany.
Yeah,
Meet
you
somewhere
can
at the
do
border and mix them together.
that. If you're in Whippany, well, you know what? If you're in Whippany and Parsippany, you're probably searching for a Stewart's root beer stand that isn't there anymore on
We
Roof.
can't help you.
It's
I know you're in trouble and I know you need help, but we're too far away. We can't help you.
too far away. All right, Mike. I'll see you on Monday, pal.
Let it be Monday. See you, man.
All right, see you. Take care. Bye bye. And thank you all for listening as well. Let's see. I gotta find the Enstrom.
The exit button. It goes like this.
Yeah, Enstrom. All right, Enstrom. There we go. No idea what these are for, but I have to play with that. I like that little feature there.